Good morning. We're coming to you today from Counseling Solutions, and we have Miss Crystal Lilliard with us today. Hello.
Hi, how are you?
Good, and you? Good to see you. Miss Crystal, please tell us a little bit about yourself and what it is that you have to offer here at Counseling Solutions for folks.
Oh, okay. Well, first of all, if I cough, please excuse me. I'm recovering from the flu. It's been a rough week, so
It's going around. It's bad. It's bad.
it's been pretty bad. And I do have a guest here today. Let me introduce her as well. This is Miss Anna. She is a therapy dog here at Counseling Solutions.
Okay.
I registered her on U.S. Dog Registry, so she's got her certificate and all that. She's a long-hair miniature dachshund. I'm trying to hold her up so you can see. She's great with the kids. She loves the kids.
Is this her camera debut?
So, yeah, it is actually. She's gonna have her own YouTube channel.
Oh, and a fan base to go with it. Yes.
So she's fantastic. Therapy dogs, really, there's so much research out there on animal-assisted therapy in particular. If you're interested in that, they have a program at Texas State that's just totally covers animal-assisted therapy.
Interesting.
It really helps with PTSD. It helps with kids, with anxiety. I have some clients that just sit there and they kind of run their fingers, through their fur, and it just kind of helps, calm them down and regulate them. The kids adore her. She's got a little basket of toys in my office, and they'll play with her. So she's part of the team. I've got to mention her. She's fantastic.
Nice.
So you said what I do here. I work with children and adolescents, and I do have a few adult clients as well. The kiddos are the ones that I really have my heart. I utilize play therapy and Sandtray therapy.
Okay.
As well. I was an intern here for about 18 months. And now I'm in the process of getting my license. I just mailed everything in, so I'm going to be here full time. It's going to take a couple of months, but I'm in the transitioning phase right now.
Oh, I think we're friends. Okay. So what led you to this particular field?
I've always really been fascinated by human behavior. Even when I was a young teenager, I would go people watch at the mall, and just kind of the human behavior was just so intriguing. My friends would always come to me with advice, relationship advice, just and I always just like helping people. I didn't know what I wanted to do growing up. I knew I wanted to be in a helping field. I didn't know if I wanted to be a teacher, a doctor, a veterinarian. Later I figured I hate blood and guts, so probably being a doctor wouldn't work out too well. But I knew that I wanted to help people and have that human interaction every day. So I kind of just fell into this field. I took some psychology classes at CTC, just as an undergrad, Psych 101, very basic, classes. And I fell in love with it. I was like, this is some cool stuff.
That sounds so familiar.
It just all kind of rolled into it, and then I decided to get my bachelor's after I got my associate's degree in general studies, because again, excuse me, I didn't know what I wanted to do. So then I did my bachelor's in psychology, and then decided to jump right into my master's the following semester.
Good stuff. That sounds so familiar.
I've loved it ever since.
Good stuff. I like that a lot. Let's go into a little bit more about your academic background. You were starting to share, that you had picked up an associate's, and then moving forward into placing more emphasis on human behavior and psychology. Yes. So give us a little bit about that.
So my associate's is in general studies, nothing special. I didn't know what the heck I wanted to do. So my bachelor's I got at Texas A&M, Central Texas, and it's in psychology.
Okay.
And then I decided to do counseling psychology. So I got my master's in counseling psychology at Texas A&M, Central Texas. In 2014, and I loved it. I had a few internships as part of it. I did an internship at the Boys and Girls Club of Central Texas, and that's when I really fell in love working with the kids and the adolescents. I was at a middle school here in Killeen, and I just loved it. It was great. I started a reading club for the kids. I started a cooking club. We did some good girls groups, and it was really good stuff. So I did another internship at the Chaplain Center in Fort Hood. Got to work with some couples, some PTSD soldiers, saw a lot of families there, and I really enjoyed it. I loved working over there on Fort Hood.
Sounds very fulfilling.
It was, yeah. Even though it was a long day, you'd be tired at the end of the day, it was good work, and you felt like you actually did something, instead of sitting in an office, playing on Facebook all day, like some of, My friends do. So it was really good stuff.
Okay. Let's go into your areas of emphasis or focus. What is it you primarily, work with when you work with your clients?
When I usually would use play therapy, and I do some sand tray therapy, and I kind of just fell into that. I got a job over in Temple at Central County Services, MHMR, at the Children and Adolescent Center. And I didn't know much about therapy, play therapy over there. And a lot of them use play therapy over there. They have a play therapy supervisor, and there were graduates of UMHB, and they kept talking about this play therapy, how great it was. So I met with one of their play therapy supervisors, and I loved it. So now I'm working on my play therapy hours, and I'm about halfway done.
Okay, tell us a little bit about play therapy. What is play therapy exactly?
Well, when you have play therapy so I think Gary Landreth said play is a child's language, and toys are their words. And I think that's directly from Gary Landreth. He kind of helped found some of play therapy over up in North Texas, University of North Texas. They have a huge program there. So when you meet with a child, a 3 or 4 year old, or even older, a lot of times they're not going to sit on the couch and say, well, my day was just absolutely horrible and I got bullied today and it was just so horrific. Well, they don't really talk and they don't really communicate like that. Mm-hmm. They use their toys. So we have a wide range of toys. We have aggressive toys, we have nurturing toys, we have sensory toys, we have toys from whole broad spectrum. Mm-hmm. And they pick out those toys to help talk, so to say, and to communicate. And that's their language. So you want to have a wide variety, a wide selection of toys. So there will be no language barriers, no limited language, and that's how they talk. That's how they communicate. They do art, mm-hmm. And that's how you work with them. Adolescents the same way too. A little bit of a different approach. They do more of the art and stuff. But yeah, it works. It works fantastic. There's so much research on it. You can just Google play therapy, and so much will pop up. The research is just incredible.
Okay, so does it open a dialogue as they're playing with the
it
toys?
Does,
okay,
very much so.
Okay.
And a lot of times if there was something traumatic or something that happened or they're not comfortable talking about, say divorce or sexual abuse, they're not going to tell you, mm-hmm. but it would show in their play. So when they're playing with the dolls, with the dollhouse, if they're coloring, the sand tray is fantastic. That stuff will come up. And then through training and stuff, we know how to process and how to kind of go from there. But that's kind of roughly what it's about.
Okay, so in a session, let's say, for example, with a child, let's say divorce
mm-hmm.
for now, and the child really hasn't opened up to anyone.
Mm-hmm.
During the course of a therapy session with you, is it ordinarily through the toys and what they're doing? Do they initially start the dialogue with you, or would you start the dialogue by asking a particular question about, well, why did you set this up, or what mm-hmm. led you to this particular lineup of your mm-hmm. toys? How does it work?
Yeah, well, my approach is very client-centered. I'm 100% client-centered. I usually do indirect play sessions. There's so many different approaches. There's direct play sessions, indirect play sessions. I'm very non-directive. So I'm all about building a relationship with a client and all about rapport. So when I meet with a client or child, adolescent, whoever, so usually our first couple of sessions is just building a rapport. Okay. And then once you have that, they're able to connect with you, and then they have that trust. You have to have a really firm foundation of trust for them to be comfortable enough to open up, what happened in their vulnerable side.
Sure.
So if something does come up, then yes, I'm not going to ask directive questions, mm-hmm. but I will ask leading questions in a non-directive way, if that makes sense. But I don't interrogate, I don't demand, tell me everything. That just doesn't work. It's not a good approach.
Sure, I would agree. So it really does put the client or the child mm-hmm. in more of a relaxed mm-hmm. mode, so that they do feel that confidence more
mm-hmm.
or less to open up and to talk.
Right.
It's a very non-judgmental environment also.
Exactly. Completely non-judgmental.
Absolutely. So tell us a little bit about tray therapy, sand tray therapy.
Mm-hmm.
You mentioned that,
yes.
So elaborate a little bit.
Yes, I love sand tray. I got into it, I had a training last year, intro to sand tray, and I fell in love with it ever since. I'm doing advanced sand tray training this May. And it's really good stuff. It taps into your subconscious. So you have a sand tray, and then you have a whole bunch of different miniatures. you're supposed to have several hundred miniatures. I'm working on my collection. So you just do, there's no really real directions. You want to be very non-directive with it. And children, adolescents, and my adult clients have used it. And you just pick out the miniatures that I guess stick out to you, and you just put them in the sand. You create whatever the therapist will say. Sometimes they'll say create a scene in the sand, or if there's a particular issue that we're working about, we'll be a little more directive. And then we just kind of go from there. They'll make whatever they want to make, and then we do processing. We take about maybe 25 to 30 minutes to really process. A lot of times the clients themselves won't know what it means, so it takes a good amount of processing, and a lot of that subconscious material will come up. You do have to be trained in sand tray therapy. The more training, the better. And I'm trying to, there is a sand tray, I think it's a sand tray Southwest Institute. It's up in Arkansas, and they do training up there, and you can become a registered sand tray therapist. And that's something I'm in the process of hopefully doing next year, just to get more training, just because I really like it so much. If you look up sand tray therapy, there is so much research on it. It's great with PTSD. It's great with kids, with ADHD, with aggressive behaviors, with just pretty much everything. Couples can use it. You can have to do it in couples counseling, group counseling. If you have several sand trays, it's utilized in group counseling. Yeah, it's really good stuff. And it really works. Yeah, when I first did the training, I was like, this isn't going to work. And then they made us do it. We get trained, we had to do it. Oh, wow, it was some good stuff. Yeah,
that sounds fascinating.
It was really, yeah. So now I'm in love with it. So now I want to do as many trainings as I can, and I really want that registered sand tray therapist registration. Is going to be really good.
Interesting. So you mentioned a little bit about adults and couples using it, and I'm sure we would have some adults who say, "Yeah, right, sand. What's sand going to do for me?" So just to put them at ease a little bit, just elaborate just a little bit more on how it would work with adults. I mean, children kind of we can picture how it would work, but with adults, which is a much more intense relationship or situation in most cases, what is it about the sand tray therapy that is therapeutic for an adult or adults in clients?
Well, a lot of times when we see pictures, like it's one thing to say, so if you have a couple that's in the process of getting a divorce, so say you would get 2 sand trays, have them divided in half, and then they each have their own sand tray. I have 2 sand trays. Have one spouse do like a divided tray. So before the divorce, what did your relationship look like? After the divorce, or in the process of getting a divorce, what does it look like? The other spouse, the same thing, before divorce, after divorce. And then afterwards you look, you compare it. It's one thing to sit on the couch and say, oh, well, our relationship is just horrible and this. But when you actually see the images in the sand, when you actually see a picture, it like clicks in your brain. It's a lot, it's just, I don't know, it makes more sense. It becomes more real, I guess. And it's just some of that stuff that there's some subconscious that people might not talk about, but it comes out on the tray. That's happened a lot before with the adult clients I've seen personally. There was stuff that they never mentioned. Something that happened years ago in their childhood or something, never came up after, months and months of therapy. And then with one sand tray, it's right there, and they didn't realize it. It was not intentional at all, but it was right there. And then that's when, once it's there, that's when we can start the healing process and processing it and talking about it and kind of moving from there. But yeah, I encourage people that are interested to look it up. Just Google sand tray. So much comes up. The research on it is just really, really good.
So it's bringing that visual imagery to life, putting it out there. It's tangible piece. Then. Yes.
It's the final piece, yeah.
Okay. See, so sand isn't always just for the children.
Oh, no, not at all. It works, with the adults a lot.
Okay. So what is it exactly that makes play therapy or even sand tray therapy so effective? What is it about it?
I think it makes it effective because it's a different approach. You get a lot more out of it than talk therapy. So talk therapy, sometimes you would have to spend months, literally months, several sessions, say 12, 13 sessions to get to a point of, when the client finally opens up and says something, or they finally present the real reason why they're there. But with Santre and with play therapy, a lot of it is so subconscious. So just after 1 or 2 sessions, that material is already presented. So it tends to be a lot faster too. So it's good they don't have to spend, months and years in therapy. And a lot of times different material will come up than, they did not mean to present. So if we're just be there. It's hard to explain.
Well, it sounds like it gives them more of a fixed point of focus.
Yes, exactly.
Opposed to having to go through the minutia of whatever. It may not necessarily be, I don't want to say insignificant, but it could stand to set aside for a moment.
Right.
Whereas with what you're doing, you cut through all of that and you're able to have that fixed point, that area of focus where you can say, okay, here's where we need to be.
Right. So much faster.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sounds very efficient. So for couples, and time is everything. We know that we live in a very fast-paced, environment now. Instant gratification is a must-have. So Santre and play therapy, well, particularly Santre for couples, may be the ideal approach for them, opposed to traditional therapeutic approaches.
And let me tell you, the research on it, a lot of it, people are finding out more. When I was at the Chaplain's and I was there maybe 3 years ago, not very long, they didn't have a Santre room. And then now there's some interns that I'm in contact with that they're at the Chaplain Life Family Center on Forehead. Now they have 2 Santre rooms with shelves all around full of miniatures because they've seen the research on it and they've seen how effective it is with soldiers, with PTSD, with trauma, with clients, with families. So now the military is using it. And I was like, wow, I wish they had that when I was there because they didn't have that. Now they have two Santre rooms just because I guess they have done it. And they say, this stuff really does work. It's very therapeutic. It's very healing. So that's something we want to utilize with proper training, of course. And they use that.
It brings up more objectivity opposed to, just, it's so subjective. It's not going to work.
Right.
So it broadens the scope much, much broader than it had been before.
Yes. Absolutely.
That speaks volumes. So what is it you would like for your clients to come away with after a session with you? What is the most important thing you would really like for them to come away with? I mean, whether it's an adult, couples, or a child, what is it you want them to come away with?
I would have to just say peace. To leave a session with peace, with hope, with some understanding. I hope that they finally realize that, hey, there's someone that actually, kind of gets it. I think, there is hope. It's not, this isn't one. I've had a few sessions, a few adolescents that they were dragged down, kicking and screaming. No, not literally, but they didn't want to be there. And I don't force anyone to be there. But anyways, afterwards, they left and they were like, you know what, Miss Crystal, that wasn't as bad as I thought it would be. I want to come back. This is actually kind of fun. I can do this. And a lot of times when when you're at that point in your life and you say to yourself, I can't believe I'm even, Googling or looking in the yellow pages for, counseling centers or therapists. It's just, to some, there's just that stigma or it's their point of, the last resort. So it's very shaming for them. So just to realize that, hey, it's not that bad. That's something you can do. And that's a huge first step to healing. To hope, to acceptance. And, I always tell clients when they come in after the first session, I was like, kudos to you. That was the hardest part. Coming in for that first session, going up to the front office and walking in, that's the hardest part. And once you've done that, you can do anything.
And making sure people understand, the concept of the installation of hope.
Hope is so important. Yes. Absolutely. Without hope, there's no life. I mean, what's the point? Really, I'm even living without hope. There's just,
I couldn't agree with you more.
It's so important.
So before we go, words of encouragement for potential clients who may look like they want to come in and see what's going on. Just some words of encouragement for those folks.
Yeah. I would strongly encourage you just to come in. And just come see me, come see Miss Anna. I think you'll really like it. It's not that bad. It's not, a lot of people think of therapy, I'm going to go, like those old cartoons, I'm going to go lie on the couch and someone's going to ask me about my dreams and make all these notes.
Very Freudian, and that's not what it is.
And I don't do that. I hardly even, I don't even sit there, in a chair and write notes and all that. Now, if I'll sit on the floor with you. If you want to go lie down, I'll go lie down with you. I'm very client-centered. If you want to go outside, we've got a nice area outside. We're here Counseling Solutions on 10 acres of land. So if you want to go outside, if you want to take the dog for a walk, you can do that too. We can walk around and talk. We can do painting outside. There's just so many approaches. You're not going to be stuck in a stuffy office talking about your feelings and talking about your problems, because I don't think that's very effective. And it's also kind of boring.
True.
I like to have fun. So I think that's something my clients, they need. I really like to have fun. I try to bring that to the therapy. Mm-hmm. If it's going to be fun, you're going to come back. And if you're going to come back, then we're going to be able to work on, whatever you need to work on. And I'm here for you. So I just say give it one session.
Okay.
Just give it one session. And most of my clients that just gave it one session, they come back. Because it doesn't feel like therapy.
Mm-hmm. It goes more like a conversation, doesn't it?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's fun. It's genuinely fun. And I think you're really going to enjoy it. And if you don't, what do you have to lose, really? If you don't, you're still going to be stuck in that same spot.
It's a well worth spent 55 minutes of your life. It truly is.
It's fantastic.
Well, Miss Crystal, we do appreciate you coming in today. Looking forward to seeing folks coming in and working with you and all the good stuff that you do.
Yes. Thank you so much. That was fun.
All right. You have a good one.
Yeah, you too.
All right.